everybody, welcome to another episode of Mike's World. Today I'm going to do actually an update video to a video I previously did. About 3 years ago, I did a video showing you how you could connect an external camera to an Android phone and use that phone like an encoder so that you could actually live stream to Facebook, to YouTube, things like that, without having to have like a Teradek or connected to a computer. And so it's been about 3 years, but I get a lot of questions about that video and people ask me, what about this? I can't get this to work. And the reality is I hadn't really used it in about 3 years. It's something you could use in an emergency, but I've always done streams that are pre-planned through a laptop, through OBS, things like that. But a lot of people want to use it and they've asked me questions. So I thought, well, let's go ahead and do an update video explaining and taking a look at the app, what has changed, because I mean, things change, apps change, updates, settings change. So there's a lot in there. I've already went through it and I've kind of figured out what the settings are that I need. And so I'm going to go over that with you right now. But before we get started, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed. Hit that like button, hit that notification bell so you know every time we update a new video, and then always leave a comment. And I'm hoping that what I go over here will help a lot of you out. I would recommend that you first go to the first video I did. You'll see a link at the top there somewhere, and it's also in the description. I would go watch that video. It's a full explanation. It kind of explains how you connect everything, because I'm going to run through that really fast here, and then we're just going to go over the new settings in the app and the settings that I think you should use to get a good stream. Now, I've said this before. I want to be clear. This does not work with an iPhone. iOS is completely a closed system. Apple has not opened it up to allow for connecting UVC cameras or anything like that. So this will not work on an iPhone. And what I've found out, it doesn't work on every Android device. I'm going to show you the current device, a brand new device I just bought actually, that does work, that's pretty cheap. It's 49 bucks. So I'll show you that. I also did a review of this device in a previous video, so you can check that out as well. That link is in the description as well. So let's get into what you need briefly, a quick walkthrough. Like I said, please go check out the other video first and then come back and watch this one for a full up-to-date idea on how to do this. But first, let's take a look at what you need. All right, so I've laid out here what I'm going to be using for this demonstration, for this up-to-date demonstration with connecting. We've got a Sony CX405 camcorder. We have a HDMI cable. We have an HD capture card. These are pretty cheap. There's a link in the description to buy one of these. We have a USB female to USB-C adapter. And that's what this will plug into. And then this adapter is a HDMI female to a mini HDMI, and that's because the CX405 uses a mini connector. So this is just an adapter to get my HDMI out. You could buy just a cable that's a mini to full, but you know, it's a lot easier just to stock a lot of regular HDMI cables and then having a couple adapters that you need. And that's what we kind of need for this. Now, link will be there if you want to buy the camera. I'll have a link for all this stuff. And then the last thing is this. This is the brand new. This is a ONN Surf Gen 3 tablet. You get them at Walmart for $49. This is the 7-inch. They do come in 8-inch and 10-inch. It's Android 11 mobile edition or on-the-go edition. And this is the device we're going to be using to connect to stream. So I'm going to show you how you do all that, and then we'll go from there. So let's go ahead and start hooking everything up. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and connect our HDMI cable to our HDMI adapter. Let's get that plugged in. We are going to take the HDMI cable and plug it into the capture card. These capture cards are pretty cheap. Now you got to keep in mind that this capture card only does 1080. So they do make a CamLink 4K, link in the description if you want that. That will stream 4K video. This will not. However, I'm going to tell you that this setup, when you're going through your mobile device, it's just best that you just use 1080. And actually, you might even want to stream 720. but we're going to stream 1080 here. And so the great thing about this CX405 camera is a lot of cameras these days don't give you the option of what your signal output is, and most of them are just 1080. And what I love about this camera, I've used it at my church, is that in the menus you can actually go in and set your output, your HDMI output. So you can set it to output 720, which is going to be important if you want to stream 720. Otherwise, most cameras will output 1080, and that's what you're going to be streaming. Now, I'm only using this as a sample because this camera does not have any kind of external mic input. So if you're doing any kind of streaming with you want to have wireless mics, you want to have a shotgun mic, something like that, you're going to want a different camera. But this is just the one I'm using for an example for now. So with this one, when you open the camera, it automatically turns on. So it's going to power up. And we have a picture there. And then here on the side, we got a flap down right here. And you have the mini HDMI. So I'm going to go ahead and plug in this mini HDMI. Now, with these mini HDMIs, if you have a camera that has a mini HDMI input, you got to be very careful, be gentle, because the smaller the connection, the more likely you are to damage it if you're bending the cable, putting pressure on it, things like that. So let's just put that camera there for now. We got the HDMI cable hooked up to it. On this end, we have the capture card, and then we're going to plug the USB connector into it, and then this is going to go into the bottom of the pad. Let me get logged in, and I'm going to pull it away so that so you don't see my password. And so there we are. Now, what you will need is, to start out, is this app right here, USB Camera Pro. Okay, there is a free version, but I'm going to warn you right now that unlike a lot of apps where you get the free version and then when you pay for the Pro upgrade, it just upgrades the app and you have all your settings. Not the case with this app. If you download the free version and you get it all set up and you get all your streams set up and everything, and you're like, yeah, this is great, but I want to get rid of the watermark and I don't want the ads, and I want to get the Pro version. You got to start all over again. So you have to download the Pro version, then you got to set up all your streams again, all your stream keys, and it's a real pain. So I would suggest go ahead and pay the $549, which is what the current price is on Google Play, and go ahead and download the Pro version, because the apps also work a little bit differently for whatever reason, and people have gotten it to where the free version's working, then they download the Pro and the same settings don't work. So I wouldn't even mess with the free version, just go with the Pro version. You're going to want that anyway. If you're doing any kind of streaming that matters to you, you're going to want the Pro version. So there it is, that's the Pro version. Now when I connect this camera to the pad, it should automatically open the app, and it says USB Camera Pro. Let me see if you can see that. You can't read that probably. I apologize. It says USB Camera Pro, open USB camera to handle null, the app is not granted permission. I click OK. It's going to open up, and I know there's some glare, but now you see the picture. You can actually see the picture of the camera. It's shooting in the corner of the room, and then down here in the bottom right, if I hit that, once I have my streams all set up, I can hit live push, I can hit record. If I hit record, it's just going to record. And there we go. And see, it's getting the connection's a little iffy. And so it's losing connection. This has happened a few times. This could be because of the adapters I'm using. Try not to move it too much. So you hit live push to start streaming. You can record. It'll record to the actual device itself. It will save it in the camera roll. And then there's a few other options here. But before you get into any of this, you've got to set up your streams with your stream keys, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or whatever. And to do that, and then also, if you were going to use this pad, on your camera, and hopefully you're going to have a bigger professional camera, you can get a clamp, goes both sides. You can mount this on top of your camera on a cold shoe, and then this works as a monitor or as, let's see if it turns sideways, there you go. So this can work as a monitor or as your encoder or both. So that's how it looks. I've got a picture, I'd be ready to go. So let's pause for a second. I'm going to start screen recording and without a picture, because we're going to go through the menus up here and I'm going to show you all the settings and what it should be set at, because I've already got this set up to stream for me. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what your settings should be. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started looking at the app. I'm screen recording right now. Let's go ahead into the USB camera app. I've disconnected the camera so you should actually set up all your settings in your stream without a camera connected. Don't connect the camera until you need to start streaming. So let's go ahead and take a look. Let's open the app, and you're not going to see anything. Nothing is connected. It's asking you to connect a UVC camera. Also, to find this app, if you just search in Google Play Store UVC camera, it pops up. It's one of the first things. So first of all, let's take a look at devices. And if you look at devices, there's nothing connected. So we'll hit cancel, motion detection. Now, if a camera is connected, you're also going to have an adjust up here that lets you adjust the hue, saturation, all that kind of stuff. Not going to do that right now. What you need to know, the main things you need is these 3 buttons to the top right, which shows you your setting. The settings is the main important one that you need. We'll get to that in a second. And down here at the bottom, once you have a camera connected, IP server, live push, record, snapshot. Live push is the one we need. We will show you when I connect the camera in a little bit how that works. For now, to set up your stream, go to settings and start from the top. Go from general settings and just slowly take a look at what I've got set here. So under general settings, you can force landscape if you want, if you don't want it to rotate. I don't leave it that way. I probably would if I had it mounted on a camera and wanted to keep it in that position so it doesn't flip on me. You can set to start in full screen when it starts up. You can display video on lock screen so that if your tablet times out and goes to the lock screen, it's still going to show you the video. Actually, I'm going to turn that on. And then wake up screen after connected. I'll turn that off. Turn motion detection after connected. We'll leave that off for now. I want to manually control that. After auto record after connected, if that's turned on, as soon as you connect the camera, it starts recording to the tablet. Storage space is a premium, so I would not do that. I would start my records on my own. We have start RTMP SRT pushing after connected. What that does is you connect the camera, it detects a signal, it immediately pushes to your default channel or RTMP stream and starts streaming immediately without you starting the stream. I don't like that. I like to manually start it. You have start IP camera, start service when system starts up, all that kind of stuff. Really the only one that I would leave on is display video on lock screen. So it doesn't mess you up. So you still have access to it when the tablet wants to go to sleep, so to speak. So let's hit the back button. And then under physical button settings, you can change all of these if you want to, turn them on or off. Really, I don't mess with any of these right now. Then you have custom app title. You can go in there and you can change it. You can call this app whatever you want. I just leave it default. Video aspect ratio, I'm always at 16:9. Whoops, I turned that off. Let's go to aspect ratio. You have default, which is whatever the camera's putting into it. I don't see a reason to ever stream 4:3 anymore. 1:1, I guess if you're going to Facebook, you could, or Fit, but I always leave mine 16:9. So it's a matter about, just what you want to use it for. You can display your frames per second if you want. I leave those off. Display audio indicator. I like to know I've got audio coming through the app, so I leave that on. 4 gig file size limit. It says some file systems have a 4 gig file size limit. FAT32 enable this option to auto segment recording file into 3.5 gigs. That's on. It will divide your recording by chunks. You have loop recording, so if your space gets full, it will delete the oldest and start recording over it. Save to SD card USB disk. If you want to turn that on, you can set the path to where you're going to record video. So if you're actually recording from the device, you can have a micro SD card in there. You can set it to record to the micro SD card instead of the internal memory of the device that you're streaming from. Enable microphone. What that is really if you're talking like I'm talking right now, I'm going through a wireless into a separate camera, but you could actually turn that on, and as you could talk, like as I'm doing this screen record, and it would actually record your from the microphone in the device itself. USB-C device, that's your camera. So two things here. Use hardware encoder, that should be on. H.264 bypass, turn that on. That was the big key for me. Before I turned the bypass on, I was getting glitchiness, freezing video. I could not get it really to work. I turned on I changed a lot of settings, honestly, but turning that on, that bypass on, is the one that worked for me. So if you're having problems with your video, you're going to have to go through and play with some of these settings because it's going to change. I mean, it really depends on what your camera you're streaming from. If you're streaming from a DSLR, some of these settings may change for you. And then you have deinterlacing, enable UVC audio input. That means you're getting audio from your camera. That should be on. Preferred external USB audio input instead of UVC device, built-in audio input. So if you had an external device, it would take it from that. Audio playback, you want on. Volume limit, that's up to you. Save latest device settings. That means if you exit the app, it saves your settings. You want that on. Easy cap, UT, just same. Just leave them just like you see them right here. And then you have an option for video overlay. What that does is when you're streaming, if you want to stream and have a logo or a watermark over your video, then you can upload a PNG file, set it in the overlay. You can also go into overlay and you can set a font, you can set a text, you can do all kinds of stuff, text colors, display a timestamp, device name, GPS location, all this stuff. Watermark overlay, that's the one where you upload a PNG file. I don't have a use for any of that right now, but it's there if you want it. The rest of this could stay off. MP4 format, we use H.264 ACC. It does give you the option for HEVC, which is H.265, which is the more advanced, latest. It's a lower data rate. So, but I didn't have any success using HEVC. So, plus if you record in HEVC, some systems can't handle that, video editing system. So I stay safe. I go with H.264, but it is going to be a bigger stream, bigger amount of data that you're streaming. Custom MP4 bitrate. This is for recording. So we're under recording, snapshot, and server right now. I set the custom bitrate so it records at 10 megabits per second. It seems to be about a sweet spot for me. For your server, RTMP, H.264 ACC. So we're going to record H.264, we're going to stream H.264. It just seems to be the best. H.264 and AVC for encoder settings. And then right here, we're going to blur out the stream key. But if I'm going to YouTube, the YouTube RTMP URL is RTMP : a.rtmp.youtube.com/live2, and then you put in your stream key, which I'm blurring out. And then there's some other stuff with your mail settings, FTP settings, which I don't use. But one thing we're going to go to is this RTMP SRT settings manager. So if I click that, and I'm going to have to blur these because I don't want you to see my stream keys, which are there as well. But I've set up 4 streams, and you'll see there I blurred the top 3. There's Mike's World, and so if I wanted to add like Facebook or another YouTube, what you're going to have to do is you have to have your stream server. In this case, it's youtube.com/live2, and then you need to have your stream key. So if you want to go to Facebook, you're going to need to go to Facebook. You're going to need to go into your live stream settings. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You can figure it out. But you're going to have those 2 items. And then you hit plus, and you can add, title it, put your RTMP server, then put your stream key, and hit add. And it will add that to the list here. And that is the most important thing, is setting up your streams. So we go back to settings, and now everything is set up, and I can stream to one of 4 channels if I want to. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to plug in the camera again. As soon as I get it all set up, give me 1 second here. And what you're going to see, hopefully, without any issues. I used this with a different camera the other day and it was fine. And this one, it might be because of the adapter. Okay, so I'm getting ready to plug in the USB-C to the device. Okay, so now we're back. I could not get the camera to view in this, so I've just restarted the tablet and I've got the camera on, everything's hooked up, so we're going to plug this in and hopefully we're going to get a signal. And now it's recognizing it. So I had to reboot the tablet. So now I have a picture. So I'm going to go back and start screen recording again. Okay, so I'm screen recording. So now let's go to the screen. So now you can see the screen, you see the camera, and then like I said up here, the adjust, you can open the adjust, you can set brightness, contrast, hue, all that kind of stuff. You hit that, you can go to full screen, go back, we're going to hit close here. So if you want to get rid of this on top, just touch the screen anywhere and it goes that way. Flip it sideways, you would get the side view. And so now we've set up our streams in our manager, in our RTMP manager. So all you do here in the bottom right is I'm going to go down here. I'm going to hit live push. I'm going to pick the stream. I'm going to pick Mike's World. And now it's connecting right now and it is streaming live right now on YouTube, on my Mike's World YouTube channel. So that is that's all it is. That's how simple it is. When you set it up in YouTube, it's set up to go straight to start the stream right away, and then to stop the stream when you're done. Under live push, hit it again, and we will stop push, and we've stopped streaming. So it is really that simple, and it works. So you know, there's also a link in the description that shows a sample stream that I did when I was setting all this up. All right, guys, so that is kind of a comprehensive overview using the app with an Android device updated from 3 years ago. Again, if you want to see more in depth, go watch the video I did 3 years ago, linked in the description. Go watch that and then come back and kind of get a refresher with this. There's some settings have changed. Obviously 3 years ago, we didn't have HEVC as an option to stream, and we do now. So it's also going to be, you're also going to have to toy with this based on your settings. You're going to have a good internet connection. The sample test stream that's in the description is this tablet connected through 5G using a hotspot on my phone. So I connected the app, connected the tablet to Wi-Fi using the hotspot on my phone in 5G, and that's how I did the stream. 5G in most places, especially in the urban areas, you're going to get a good enough signal that you can stream. It should be decent quality, should be pretty good. This is not perfect, the quality, okay? This app is a little bit funky at times. It's going to cause you some issues at times, and it seems like the connection is very finicky a little bit sometimes. So what you may want to do is find a way, if you've got this mounted up on your camera and you got the, your connection going in, is rigging up somehow where it's not pulling on the connection or creating any stress at the tablet's USB-C port. So just to help you out there to keep a stable connection. So again, it's not perfect, but really what I see this being used for is kind of like breaking news situations. If you work in news, if you work for a newspaper, if you have a small little camera and you run out and there's a car wreck or there's a fire in your little newspaper and you want to stream it to the website, if you have this already pre-programmed in your Android device, then you can hook it up to your camera quickly. You have it right there, you hit stream, and you can quickly on your website stream breaking news or something. If you were doing something like a rally at a Capitol, or you're, let's say you're a nonprofit and you're doing a press conference and you want to stream it and you don't care about the graphics and all that stuff, you just want to have a good stream. Well, set your camera up, put a wireless on your speaker, or get a camera and have the podium with audio going into the camera, And then you can set it up and you can literally connect it to a tablet or an Android phone in most cases, and you can stream it. And you don't have to have a laptop. You don't have to have like a Teradek encoder or a LiveView or a TVU or some other expensive device. This can be very cheap. This tablet was $49 at Walmart, and it works great. It is borderline being able to be used. It's got 2 gig of RAM, 2.0 gigahertz quad-core processor, probably at the minimum of what you would want because it is really the cheapest tablet you can find, but it works. So I would suggest, and again, I need to reiterate, not every Android device is going to work. And I know that's frustrating for all of you guys, but it's just, when I had the, 3 years ago when I did this test, it was with an LG G6 phone. That thing is ancient compared to today. So, but certain Samsung phones, people have messaged me and said they don't work. Other phones running Android might not work. So it's a test. I mean, it might work, it might not work. And if your Android device does not work, honestly, there's not much else you can do. This app comes from a guy in China. I've seen some of his videos. He barely speaks English. He does try to use subtitles. The guy's extremely smart. He knows what he's doing. But again, it's just him. It's just his app that he came out with. There's no other app out there as good as this one. There just isn't. No company is putting out UVC cameras. The only UVC cameras right now that are really being used through USB are webcams. So that's what webcam is. It's a UVC camera. All this is doing is allowing you, instead of hooking up a web camera, you can hook up a full-on professional camera. As long as you have an HDMI out and you have one of these capture cards, you can stream any camera right through your Android device if your Android device supports this app. Again, last thing is just to reiterate, if you're going to download the app, pay the $549 and get the Pro. Don't mess with the free version. You're going to regret it if you end up going with the Pro version, if this works for you. Now, you may want to get the free version to test your Android device, and if it doesn't work, maybe not get the Pro. But like I said before, sometimes people have said that the free version works and then the Pro version doesn't, or the Pro version works and the free version doesn't. So your call. But hope this has been informative. I hope this updated video has helped you guys. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video. Always leave a comment and then hit that notification bell. Every time we upload a new video, you'll be the first to know so you don't miss anything. I do a lot of tech reviews and things like that, cameras, video production stuff, things like that. So if you're interested in this type of content, then I suggest that you subscribe and you hit that notification bell. Hey guys, thank you very much. I'm glad you watched this video. Hope it helped you out a lot. We'll see you next time. Take care.